Welcome to 365 LOA. How to easily and effectively bring into alignment your thoughts, desires, beliefs, and actions, as well as create a positive parallel environment with those around you and the world as a whole. And now, broadcasting high atop the MacGuffin Towers in exciting Las Vegas, Dr. Richard Nongard and R.J. Banks. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. R.J. Banks here, along with my esteemed colleague, Dr. Richard K. Nongard. And I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm just have a statement. Tell me about hypnosis and self-hypnosis and how it relates to the law of attraction.
You know, tapping into the subconscious mind lets us activate the resources that are in us so that we can be successful. In some of the prior episodes of the show, I've guided people through a guided meditation or through a self-hypnosis session. But what I actually want to talk about today comes from my book. I wrote a book. It's actually the best-selling self-hypnosis book right now. It's titled The 7 Most Effective Methods of Self-Hypnosis.
And congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. It's great to actually have a bestseller out there. The subtitle is How to Create Rapid Change in Your Health, Your Wealth, and Your Habits. But my favorite chapter in this book is on de-hypnosis.
On what?
De-hypnosis.
Can you please explain what de-hypnosis is?
Sure. So many people think, well, if I only learn hypnosis, I can step into abundance. But a lot of people need to learn de-hypnosis. And de-hypnosis is about letting go of those subconscious mind traps that keep us from having success. So I always ask people this question: what if you could have anything you want? Think about it for a minute. People right off the bat think that's not actually possible, but it is. What is it you truly want? Health, wealth, security, significance? I think back to Napoleon Hill's book, and the third step towards creating riches in his book was autosuggestion. And people often learn self-hypnosis because they think it's going to help them change a habit or become daytime talk shows, tell them that they can overcome anything they want to. Others recognize the value of self-hypnosis to help them achieve peak performance, whether that's academic or in sports or in some other area. But I was always impressed that Napoleon Hill in his book, Think and Grow Rich, actually promised us something that seemed unattainable for most, and that was riches and wealth. We can use the power of the mind to create riches and wealth.
I like that.
So according to Hill, the only thing that stands between us and financial security, by the way, notice there's not a certain dollar amount.
Right.
Financial security is wealth. And the only thing standing between us and financial security are our own limiting beliefs.
So true.
And this actually applies in every area of life. Limiting beliefs are actually the real culprit. In relationship difficulties, people limit themselves to someone who can put up with them or someone they deserve. Plays a role in why people perpetuate their own internal misery and depression by telling themselves things like, well, this is as good as it gets. Or,
yeah, I used to be married.
That's right. Or, this is all that us have-nots are entitled to. And limiting beliefs are what we need to de-hypnotize ourselves from.
Now I understand what you're talking about. Exactly. So it's just unbrainwashing ourselves from all the BS that we've been programmed to believe about ourselves and our society or whatever, and our place in society.
Well, there's a great story that illustrates the importance of de-hypnosis. Prior to 1954, it was assumed that running a 4-minute mile was actually unachievable for any human being. That nobody would ever be able to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. To run a mile in 4 minutes went running 22 feet per second, 15 miles an hour.
Wow.
It's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Although Olympians had come close to a 4-minute mile in preceding years, nobody had actually been able to do it. It was assumed impossible and beyond the limits of the human body. Okay. Something happened.
What happened?
On May 6, 1954, on a track at Oxford University, Roger Bannister ran that mile in 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and 4 seconds.
So he broke the 4-minute barrier.
Yeah, but what's most amazing about it isn't that he broke the barrier in 4 minutes.
Well, what happened after that?
Over 1,400 athletes did the exact same thing.
Isn't that it? I just, that story has always been so amazing to me because it just shows you right there how limiting beliefs not only can affect ourselves, but it can affect the whole world, because that was, like you said, nobody in the world can run a mile faster than 4 minutes. But as soon as somebody did,
John Landy was the next guy to do it.
And it was, 2 days after that?
It was very shortly after that.
And then there was just one after another.
One after another. And nobody actually considers it amazing anymore.
Isn't that something? Now it's if you cannot run a mile in less than 4 minutes, you can't even compete, because I don't even know what is the world record right now to run the mile.
I don't have any idea, but it's under 4 minutes. We know that.
Oh, it's way under. It's I think it's probably like 3:53 or something like that. From what I mean,
I can't run a 4 minute mile, but I can overcome my other limiting
Mine's a 4 hour mile.
Right. Same here. People have limiting beliefs about money. They say things like another day, another dollar, because they don't believe they can have a lot of dollars.
The other one I see is just like, oh my God, I can't afford. I'd never be able to afford that. And so what are you doing to yourself right there?
If you don't believe you can afford it, you'll never be able to afford it. Or how about this one? Well, people in my profession don't get wealthy. So I'm a licensed mental health professional. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and a lot of mental health professionals go into the field kind of like teachers and sometimes even cops, saying, I can't accrue wealth because I have a profession that serves people and doesn't make the big bucks. The reality is we hear those stories all the time of, the janitor who retires and leaves $1 million endowment to the university because, well, a penny saved is a penny earned. And high income is only one pathway to wealth. In fact, there are a lot of people I know with a high income who are actually broke. Mm-hmm. But saving and the law of compounding is probably the best pathway to wealth, even if you start with a modest.
And I'm learning that from you.
That's right. So Hill wrote something really interesting in his book. Nature has so built man that he has absolute control over the material which reaches his subconscious mind through his 5 senses. However, this isn't meant to be construed as a statement that a man always exercises this control. In the great majority of instances, he does not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty.
I got a little confused on that one.
It's okay. I think what Hill is saying here is that most people choose to go to life adhering to the limits they set for themselves.
Oh, okay.
They don't exercise.
We buy into the
absolutely
into the programming. Okay.
And Hill tells us something interesting. He tells us that the best pathway is to see yourself rendering a service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for money.
Visualization.
Exactly, because what the mind conceives, the body can achieve, whether that's in health, whether that's in wealth, whether that's in sports like Roger Bannister or anyone else.
And if you take that and combine that with Earl Nightingale's statement, where your attention goes, energy flows, is basically, I think pretty much verbatim, he says, he says that we attract what we think about and what we focus on the most.
Well, James Allen said that too. Yep. He said, you are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Mm-hmm. That's, by the way, if you're going to, in fact, here's an assignment for everybody listening to this show. Grab a dry erase marker. Okay, dry erase markers are great. You can write on your bathroom mirror and you can still see yourself to brush your teeth and to comb your hair. Okay. And with your dry erase marker, write on there, you are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you.
Or should they paraphrase it to, I am where I am?
There you go. I am today where my thoughts have brought me. I will be tomorrow where my thoughts will take me.
Yep.
Again, when we see that in our own handwriting, it's got real power. It shows us the importance of really de-hypnosis. De-hypnosis is a really important strategy. We have to give up old ideas. This is the only way to have a breakthrough.
Yeah, if we stay the same, then we would still be in caveman uniform or caveman.
Well, the conundrum we have, Rob, is that we have misbeliefs. We have cognitive errors or stinking thinking, right? These are the things the limiting beliefs that we often hold. But the problem is we don't know that those aren't true because we believe them to be true. So the paradox of this is that in order to, there's this 3-step process for dehypnotizing ourselves. First, we have to recognize our misbelief. We have to remove these old ideas. And the only way to remove these old ideas is to replace them with the truth. That's where affirmations and things come into play. But people don't know how to recognize their misbeliefs, their limiting beliefs. And I always tell people some of the best ways to do this is to read the stories of other people. Read the stories of people who have created success and abundance in their life. Whether it's somebody like Napoleon Hill, who's a famous author, of course he's passed away, or Earl Nightingale, who's a famous radio host, of course he's passed away. But we can hear the stories, we can see.
Well, now we got Elon Musk. We have a whole new generation of shakers and movers and
people
successful people.
Yeah, exactly. Who look for a solution in the face of every problem.
Yep.
And we can see ourselves sometimes in these stories, and we can say, wow. For example, Elon Musk just announced that Tesla's going to be building ventilators and face masks for hospitals, and that within a week they would have the first delivery of 250,000 masks and soon ventilators to hospitals, meeting an immediate need that is required in our time. This is limitless thinking, whereas most people say, well, I and by the way, it's not just Elon Musk. I was on the Vegas locals subreddit today, and I was searching through that forum, and there was somebody who had made Golden Knights face masks. They were a seamstress, a person with sewing skills,
cool.
And they were going to and they followed an old pattern they found in like a 1920s sewing book. And hospitals now, of course, use disposable masks, but those are hard to find. But in the past, they used a certain type of cotton with a double netted, whatever, and this could be sterilized and reused and help meet a need. And she had made about 25 of these and was going to be driving over to the hospital to donate them.
Isn't that cool? Just to put a timestamp on what we're talking about right now, we're kind of in the middle of the coronavirus. These
things apply no matter what.
Right. Well, I'm just because we were using the masks and
sure. And people think in the middle of this, hey, they have that scarcity mentality. I'm not going to get what I need, and I don't think we're going to survive this. I see a lot of people on my Facebook feed who are doom and gloom and apocalyptic, and the reality is, throughout mankind, we have a long history of going through trials and tribulations and difficulties, and we've always been able to persevere and make it to a better place.
We always do.
A lot of people are frustrated right now. They're looking at their 401ks and they're seeing that they probably should have used 3% of their income, and they probably should have hedged, but they didn't, and so their stocks are down. But I always tell people in a downturn, especially a sudden downturn like this in a market, the only people who lost money are the people who sell.
Well, you, not to divulge your income, but I know you've been making money off of this because you've been, I don't know, the only thing I can do is relate it to the game craps where you bet with the house.
Well, the stock market, there's money to be made whether the market's going up or down. Volatility can be your friend if you have knowledge. But those aren't things that the typical investor can do. And of course, it's not making money off of difficulty. It's just recognizing the trends in the stock market and being able to make investments on either side, whether it's red or green. And of course, if somebody is used to only one way of investing and they find that those investments haven't yielded the returns that they want, there are other ways to invest. So if a person had been investing in real estate and all of I met somebody a couple weeks ago and actually a few months ago, and they said, they were wealthy, they had a lot of stock, and it was all in Boeing. And I said, well, it's not really diversified. That's not really a great financial strategy. But they were confident that, of course, Boeing would never have any problems because Boeing is Boeing. And, of course, now we're talking about a government bailout for Boeing, and the stock has dropped 60% of its value. So, again, we need to increase our financial knowledge. We need to de-hypnotize ourselves from the idea that there's only one way of accruing wealth. And the simplest strategy of all is the law of compound. Even with super low interest rates, wealth can be created when we have enough time to compound that principle.
Now, people like me who really don't have any knowledge of investing and all that kind of stuff, because I've never gotten into that, so I really don't know. Do you have a site or something that we can put up on the 365 LOA podcast website?
Well, I don't want to recommend financial services to learn these things, but there's lots of great places, and I would just start by increasing your financial knowledge by going to somewhere like cnbc.com.
Oh, okay.
And reading the resources and learning about different forms of creating wealth. So many people think that manifesting wealth is I get the high-paying job that pays me, $300,000 a year, or they think wealth is created by, getting lucky and selling a crazy invention for $1 million. Most wealth is actually created by setting the intention to invest money wisely, using the principle of compounding as a foundational strategy for that wealth. Then they can move to advanced strategies like, buying options.
I think it was Roosevelt who said, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Was it Roosevelt that said that? I don't remember.
I think it was John Kennedy who said that.
No, it wasn't.
Well, somebody said it.
It was one of them presidents.
One of those presidents said it.
Anyway, that to me, when I sit here and I question myself, why have I never got into investing and all that kind of stuff? Because it confuses me, because I'm afraid of it. I don't know. So I have fear. And when it comes to law of attraction, when you incorporate that into it, I'm attracting more fear about that. And so all that investing, that's very scary for me. And so that's one thing that I think I need to work on. And that's one thing actually Richard here has been kind of coaching me a little bit on how this whole investing in market
Let's put it in a real basic thing related to money. The best example of this fear is in a holiday sale. The holiday sale is there to create fear. If you don't get it now, you're going to miss out.
Yep.
After all, these prices can never be duplicated. By the way, none of that's true. Or selling is done with the fear of missing out, FOMO. And ads often sell us with FOMO. They cause us to buy into an idea that without what they are selling, our lives will be incomplete. And that we're going to miss out if we don't make this purchase. And the reality is, financial decisions should never be made based on a fear of missing out, whether it's a purchase, whether it's an investment, whether it's
and look at what happened to the coronavirus hysteria. The whole world is out of toilet paper.
Yes, exactly. Well, we talked about scarcity in a previous episode, and scarcity thinking, and I think even during difficult times like the current era where we're living, we can keep our eyes focused on abundance. We can de-hypnotize ourselves. We can remove those old negative ideas. We can replace them with the truth.
That was my next question. How do we kind of deprogram ourselves?
We replace it. We replace those old ideas with new ideas using methods like affirmation, methods like self-hypnosis. The book I wrote, The 7 Most Effective Methods of Self-Hypnosis, I never knew it would be as widely popular as it is. It's got, just in the first couple of months, it's got over 30 5-star reviews on Amazon, which is actually pretty amazing. I keep waiting for somebody to leave a 3-star review or a 1-star review.
No, focus equals fuel, right, sir.
Everybody, well, I almost wish they would, so that way people would think it was believable. But so many people have truly benefited because the simple strategy of self-hypnosis can change your life. It can reverse FOMO decisions. It can de-hypnotize us from those cognitive errors we have. It can help us activate the abundance that Napoleon Hill promised in his book, Think and Grow Rich.
Now, what about those things that we were told when we were kids that we were growing up with? I know the things that I've been taught and things that we've talked about before was, if you do have something that you're really hung up on, you can kind of go back, you can acknowledge it, but don't focus on it or relive it. But if you were programmed to believe yourself unworthy or unable to, or too stupid to do this or do that, you can deprogram or de-hypnotize yourself by going back.
Recognize those misbeliefs.
Then just write, and we always taught, don't type it out, write it out. Say, even though this happened to me or it was said to me, those are lies. They're not true. The truth is, I am happy, intelligent, beautiful, whatever you want to fill those affirmations.
I am healthy. I am wise.
Exactly.
And, you know, my wife sometimes says this. She'll say, I'm not smart.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't go to college like you. The reality is she's completely brilliant. She smarter than me in so many areas of life.
Isn't that amazing?
And so I might be good at passing tests and writing dissertations, but she's an expert at common sense. And that is something that should be honored and something valued. So I hear people say, well, I'm stupid. I don't have an education. I didn't go far in school. And, you know, that's, again, one of those things we need to de-hypnotize ourselves from. Right. So the reality might be I wasn't good at passing tests and writing papers, so I didn't finish college. But I'm smart. I'm smart in my relationships. I'm smart in my areas of expertise. I'm smart because I'm willing to learn new things.
That is such a huge key right there, is I am willing to. When you can affirm to yourself that I am willing to, and you know, when you look at it and say, well, I'm no good at this, but I am willing to learn, and I'm willing to practice, and I'm willing to perfect this in my life.
Well, I used to work with clients in therapy with a technique called the willingness dial, where I would have them amplify and turn up their willingness. And we can all do that, even without therapy. We can learn the principles of self-hypnosis in my book, The 7 Most Effective Methods of Self-Hypnosis, which you can, of course, get on Amazon as an audiobook or an ebook or as a paperback book, and learn how to de-hypnotize yourself from negativity and re-hypnotize yourself with positivity.
Very, very cool. Very awesome. Everybody go out and order that book. And with that, my friend, it looks like we are just about out of time.
I'm looking forward to meeting with everybody, same time, same station, same channel, next time here on the 365 LOA podcast. To head over to the 365LOA.com website and check out all those free resources we have for you to help you live a life of abundance.
For Dr. Richard K. Nongard and R.J. Banks, we say so long.
You've been listening to 365 LOA with Dr. Richard Nongard and R.J. Banks. For additional information, including free downloads or to send them an email, visit 365LOA.com. That's 365LOA.com.